This is going to be a quick placard update. We're going to switch out some placards and install some new ones. Mission set always is ever changing and responsibilities are ever changing, so time for a change. I had been running the HRT Maximus placard, which I do enjoy. The pistol magazines being on the side, kind of awkward. I didn't really like that, but I moved those down my belt, and these are just kind of some admin pouches. This was a great pouch because it had a ton of storage options inside of it for a specific specialty that I was dealing with on our TAC team. I was one of our master breachers, so this gave me a ton of real estate to store things in. And you'll see there's a hole here. I was going to put a grommet in there, never got to it, but that's where my body cam sat. Just made a little Kydex insert myself and wedged, I'm not sure you can see that on there, but wedged a piece of Kydex down in there, and that held my body camera. This was great. It's just a little bulky. It's a little much. I want a more low pro, kind of traditional setup versus this big bulky thing. So this guy's out for now. This is the laser cut SRV made by Paraclete. And it's been a great carrier. It's just, it's not one of the big names you think of when you think plate carrier, but it's been a great plate carrier. This is the placard it comes with. One thing that I absolutely despise and hate is when people run proprietary setups. So their Swift clips are not the industry standard. They're much smaller, so they make you buy their stuff. Don't like it. This is the one that came with it while I was waiting for the replacement. So we're gonna ditch this one, and what we're gonna go with is, straight out of Israel, the Agilite Pincer placard and the Pincer placard second layer admin pouch. Much more sleeker, but I'm still gonna have the ability to stow materials. This is a triple magazine setup. Get into it. It's a triple magazine setup. Rarely I don't need to carry a battle loadout in the United States, so I'm not needing to run 6 magazines or 3 magazines for what I do for work. So I generally use one of these pouches to hold either a tourniquet or a place where I'm going to stow my push-to-talk as well. So let's get this on. We'll tear this bad boy off, and I'll show you kind of another interesting thing I had to do as far as a conversion to get this on, since I am limited by the fact they have their proprietary Swift clips. I hate this. Stop doing this. Everybody get on the same page. So I just got this thing in the mail. I just opened it and was kind of pleasantly surprised. I knew this thing mounted with G-hooks. What I didn't know is they make it super easy to put on a set of Swift clips. And if you're not familiar with what a Swift clip is, what I'm talking about here, it's just a fancy name for this style of clip right there. So this is a preferred method I like to use. I don't mind G-hooks, but they're not as secure. They end up falling off in my experience, unless it's super Velcro down. So I'm not a huge fan of the G-hooks personally. They actually have it set, generally it's one way or the other. If you buy it, this is sewn on and you're not getting it off. These guys are innovators. It's just a Velcro strip on the back. Let's try not to tear the stitching. And bye-bye G-hook. And we're just gonna put our Swift clips on. So that is nice. I did not anticipate that. I did actually plan for G-hooks, and what I did pick up, I bought a cheap one because I wasn't sure on this. I think it was Spiritus, but I can't remember. I'll put it down in the bottom someplace. But they sell this adapter to where I can either use Swift clips or G-hooks, just depending on what I want, to set up my plate carrier that right now is proprietary for these little tiny guys versus the industry standard size. I believe it's like 1.5" and inch size. So 1.5" is like the standard. I can stick that up in my molly and fuse this bad boy down. It's not going to be perfect. I've already kind of messed with this. It'll work. But this is a cheap knockoff that I got off Amazon because I couldn't get a direct answer on if the expensive one was going to actually work on the SRV. So we're going to rip this off, get this set up, get it on, and we'll mount the new placard as well as the new dangler. And I'm probably getting rid of this this HRT dangler as well. I have no issue with the dangler itself. This is a little more low pro. We'll see. Not sure what's going to happen entirely yet, but it's like an adult with a bunch of different toys. And while we're doing this, one thing I found with push-to-talks about any setup you get, the clip that actually attaches your push-to-talk is generally huge, ridiculous, in the way, and just super inconvenient. So I actually took mine off and I used an Alti clip on there, and I'll put links for all this stuff down in the comments or down in the description, guys. But stuck an Alti clip on there, and it's so much more low pro, and I don't have my cordage sticking up in my face as I'm trying to do what I'm doing. So nice little tip there. Grab yourself an Alti clip, replace out the setup you have on it to actually the pattern lined up enough to where I can make it work. So we got our Swift clips on, and another unique feature about the placard inside of it, which is going to be tough for you to see here, but there is little elastic dividers right there. One of them pulled out, looks like that. So it gives you the ability to kind of stow different stuff. So you want to put a multi-tool in one side, you know, whatever in the other, you're good to go. Pistol mags. So I'm going to ditch all these. I don't want them in there. One of the reasons being, I'm not going to have 3 pistol mags, and that's just not what I need. I can carry another on my belt, so I'll have at least 2 on me and 1 in the rifle. This one is perfect for the body camera to slide down in. And what I'll actually do is rig up a little elastic retention system that runs over the top and fastens it down in there. It's kind of unfortunate that you gotta waste a piece of space on a body camera, but whatever. So those are off, and I'll show you what I bought as far as this little doohickey here, this little adapter, and kind of how that's gonna work. Let me adjust you guys a little bit here on the angle. So we'll mount it right here. We're gonna get rid of this. And it just drops in the MOLLE slots, and these tuck into the MOLLE as well. This will tuck down into the placard, into the Velcro, or into the cummerbund, into the Velcro, give it a nice, you know, fit. And then they give you some options for wire routing. I'm not necessarily advocating for this. We'll see how it holds up. What I'm doing is using this as a kind of a test run to see if it's worth purchasing the little more expensive variant, which once again, sorry, it's escaping me which that is. This can be a bit of a fight, just like anything when you're dealing with MOLLE. So I find that it's easiest to have big flathead screwdriver, and then just start weaving from the center. And I believe about here is where I want it to go, yes. So if I can get started in the center and get one in there, and sorry, you guys are not gonna have a great view of this. I'm gonna do my best for you. Get one started and then just work the others in. I find a flathead screwdriver is about the best a guy can do when messing with this stuff. If you got something better, holler at me in the comments and let me know your tricks, but it's just kind of a fight. There's really not a great way to do it sometimes. And then you gotta fight the Velcro too. Yeah. There we go. I find the center one's a real pain in the ass, but we're in. If you think the top layer sucks, the bottom layer is worse. Hung up a little on this one here. There we go. A little encouragement. I'll probably end up fast forwarding this so you don't gotta sit and watch me fight with it, but kind of get the idea of what I'm trying to do here. It just weaves in there that Tigris material, which I think definitely has an application in the industry, but I think is getting overused in a lot of ways in a kind of a weight bearing capacity. This not so much because it's weaved in, but it's not very sturdy, I've found. All right. Okay, there we go. We're in. So let's get these secured underneath the cummerbund. More layers is better. So we're good to go there. We'll peel these back. So much Velcro. My dream plate carrier is the Cry AVS, but I don't have a spare $2,000 laying around. Toss in the comments what you guys are running. If you have an AVS, tell me how magical it is and how much money you make. So before we put this on, what we got to do, I'm glad I remembered this step. Now we take our little admin pouch. We're actually going to weave this pouch to this one. So to do that, we're going to take these three right here, and we're going to weave them through these hard points right here on our magazine wells here, our magazine pouches here. Allegedly. Oh, right there maybe. Yep. So right here, there's a little slot right there that we're going to go through. Yet again, some more, oops, sorry, about knocked you over. Yet again, some more minute, fine motor skill work. So you'll weave them through, and it's actually going to roll it just like that. Then we're going to tuck these sleeves back around on the back side. I think, pretty sure. Flathead screwdriver, if you just get them started, another great tool to have laying around, which I don't, is a needle nose just to grab the tip of that and pull. So when you're doing this, don't rip this far side one all the way down. Just get it started so that you're not fighting yourself on these other sides. One other step I forgot here is going to be to weave these between the center magazine. So we're going to actually stick those down between the center magazine right there. Okay, let's get that done before we close it up. So they just pull straight through, and they're kind of elastic, so it's going to hold it up to it. And then we'll flip it around. You see what I'm talking about here. They just flop right over, giving her a little more stability. We'll come back in here, make it nice and snug. All right, that one's pretty good. And there we go. And now into our swift clips, which you probably can't see now. Let's make an adjustment again. All right, now into our swift clips. Should hear a good audible click. There it is. And now, one last time, get under here and tuck this around the back. And there you have it. We're on. One more little thing about this placard here, the pincer. They have these rolls of moly around the side right here, a single roll of moly. So if you did want to buy their magazine pouches, they mount right there, or anything moly related, you can just stick right on there. But that's really it, guys. Let's see what we got for storage in there. Not a ton. There's one little separate zipper compartment right up top here. Some elastic, you can stick some stuff in, but I don't need a ton of shit inside of here. I normally don't carry a ton of extra stuff, especially now with kind of the roll change, if you will. So that's on. So that's going to be the pincer placard along with the admin pouch. It's nice and small. It's a little more streamlined. That's the setup I'm looking for. Let me hear what you guys have to say down in the comments. If you do something differently, do something similar, holler at me. And if you have an AVS, please rub it in my face. Thanks for watching. Check out some of these other videos.